What's going on, you guys? My name is Morgan, and welcome back to another video. So in today's video, we're going to be talking about, we're going to be discussing dachshunds and their training needs. So I have a lot of dachshunds. Everybody here knows this. If you've been on this channel before, you know how many dachshunds I have. Or around about that I have a ton of them. So we're going to talk about dachshunds. And so, getting started, this is a dachshund. Yep, she was under the blanket this entire time. This is a wiener dog. Dachshund, wiener dog, Doxy. Dachshunds came from Germany. They were bred to hunt badgers, which explains their stubby feet and their long bodies and their just the shortness in general. They were bred to burrow in underground for badgers. Nowadays it's for badgers, rabbits, squirrels, snakes. A lot of our dogs, well, we don't have a lot of badgers around here, but we do have snakes, and we have rats, and we have moles, a lot of moles, and we have rabbits and squirrels. I don't know if I already said squirrels, but they are, around here, they are bred to hunt those types of things, especially snakes. Texas is very, very known for snakes. Now, dachshunds in general have a specific nature. Now, everybody's dachshunds are different depending on how you raise them, but dachshunds are not high-energy dogs, and they're not high maintenance. Now, they do require a little bit of maintenance depending on how you raise your dogs. So, for the most part, dachshunds, again, were bred to hunt, so they do have a very serious hunting streak, and if you don't ring them in, they will take off. They are runners, so if you don't train them not to run away and not to chase something, they will. Again, they are serious hunters, and that is very normal because dachshunds, again, were bred to hunt. Their noses don't stop. And while they're not a lot like beagles, they are at the same time like beagles. They do have noses that are bred to hunt, that are made to hunt game. While dachshunds do enjoy a good nap, they are not entirely lazy. So in my household, it's about 80% of the time that they do like to be up and moving around and running around and playing. And then the other 20% of the time they like to sleep, and it gets different with age. So Duke prefers to sleep. He will probably sleep all day and get up to use the bathroom and then go back to sleep. But he is 7 years old. He was a backyard bred dachshund, missing all of his teeth. His elbows bow out. He is unhealthy as it gets when in terms of dachshunds. It can be a lot worse, but he is very unhealthy. So we're working on that, and we're working to get him up and get him moving, but it is just a process. Now, we have, and then we have Zeus. So Zeus does a lot of trials, such as barn hunt, and he does a lot of fast cat. He is kind of a high-energy dog in terms of dachshunds, but he likes a good nap as well. Rue is the same way. She can be very, very high energy and very high maintenance, but she does enjoy a good nap, if you couldn't tell. So dachshunds are blanket hogs. They love their blankets. They prefer to be under a blanket. Most of the time, they like to burrow. Now, the occasional dachshund might not care. Occasionally, they don't care for the blankets. Whiskey, I would say, doesn't really care for blankets. He prefers to sleep on the floor at all times. No blankets, no puppy pads, no nothing. He doesn't like to sleep on anything. He had found a place beside the toilet to sleep beside the toilet. That's where he prefers to sleep. But they do have a little bit of a stubborn streak. Dachshunds can be very, very hard to train. They are extremely stubborn. Now, some dachshunds just like to play and like to go. But they can be stubborn, and they can be, again, difficult to train. I have never had a difficult dachshund, aside from maybe Rue. Fuzzy was probably one of the easiest dachshunds I ever had to train. We are working on his CJC, which is Canine Good Citizen. They've been very easy to potty train and puppy pad train. But that is because they do follow the other dogs, the older dogs, to learn how to use the puppy pads and go outside. But for the most part, they have a very interesting stubborn streak. But you have to nip it in the butt and then adjust them to it. It is easy to adjust them if you know what you're doing, but I do not recommend dachshunds for first-time dog owners because they can be so stinking stubborn. If you've never had a stubborn dog, you don't know what you're getting into with dachshunds. And it does kind of provide dachshunds into the shelters because you don't know what you're getting into with stubborn dogs. Stubborn dachshunds especially. These dogs are probably one of the most stubborn dog breeds that I have ever run into. And I've been a lot of dog breeds in the past. But I love their stubborn personalities. I love their personalities in general. For me, they have been easy to train because they are very food efficient. They are very trainable with food. They love food. They love to eat. So a lot of my dachshunds have been easy to train with treats and food and good reinforcement. But if you are a new dog owner, you are kind of in for it because they do like shoes also, and they like to chew on walls and you name it, they like to chew. They are very big chewers, and they're big diggers. So if you have a garden, you should say goodbye to that garden unless you're prepared to train your dachshund because they will go digging through your garden. It is very important also for your dachshund to be very well socialized and well rounded. So I say this because dachshunds, well, according to the statistics I had read, dachshunds are the third most euthanized breed in the United States. Now, I haven't seen a lot of dachshunds in the city of Houston aside from rescues, which it can be very, very daunting to adopt from a rescue, and you are very easily denied. But in terms of animal shelters, I have not seen very many dachshunds, but they are the third most euthanized breed in the United States, according to the statistics I read. Now, this could be different, but that is what I had read. So, to each their own. But contrary to popular belief, they are great dogs. But if you don't socialize your dachshund early, dachshunds can be aggressive. Any animal can be dog aggressive and people aggressive. Dachshunds can be very, very temperamental towards children if you do not socialize. So our neighbors have 3 kids. We socialize our dogs with their kids all the time because their kids can be handsy and they can pull and poke. Now, there is a very, very drawn line with that. We had a family here that were my husband's friends, and their kids actually went up and punched Fuzzy in the face. While Fuzzy was very, very okay with that in terms of not being aggressive, it is not okay to allow your kids to pick on your dogs on purpose and not do something about it. And I'm not saying, oh, your dog bit your kid because your kid stepped on their ribs, jumping on them, pulling on them, physically hurting your dogs, but the dog snaps and you get rid of the dog. That is on you as a parent. You are a terrible parent if you let your kids pick and bully your dogs. Now, if your dogs if they haven't been socialized and your kid just walks by them and the dog bites, now that is a problem. That is an under-socialized dog. We socialize our dogs with our neighbors' kids because they are such great kids. Even they have a younger boy that's like 4. He can be a little pokey and pull, but they're working on him not pulling on dogs' tails and picking on dogs. Now, they have a dog from us. His name is Spirit. He is a very well-rounded dachshund. And even with the baby, they have a new baby, and with the 4-year-old, and they have an 8-year-old that Spirit belongs to. Even with that, he is very well-rounded. He is very acceptable with the kids. Now, he can get a little aggravated, and he will actually go to a different room just to relax and decompress. Now, dachshunds can need decompression time because your kids are poking at them instead of just poking. But dachshunds can also think they have little dog syndrome, which they think they're a big dog in a little dog body. So they can be a little bit temperamental, and if you don't train them correctly, they can be aggressive. So it's very important to socialize your dogs with all dogs, any shape and any size, because if you don't, you will end up with a very aggressive dachshund. And it's not very hard to socialize them at a young age. And if you pick a breeder, usually breeders socialize their dogs with all types of dogs, which we have an American Pit Bull Terrier mixed, he's boxer mixed American Pit Bull Terrier, and then we have Crane, who is a mutt, husky, pit bull something. We socialize our puppies with them, and then also with our friends' dogs. Slowly, we just socialize with everybody and everything because that is what makes a well-rounded dachshund. Now, if your breeder doesn't know what they're doing, you will get an aggressive dog. Now, you can fix that as soon as you get the dog. Start working with them. You cannot expect your breeder to do everything. So for most breeders, they leave between 8 and 12 weeks. You cannot expect your breeder to have this dog well socialized and perfect by the time they leave. You have to keep it up. Now, if you rely on the breeder and after 12 weeks you stop and you don't do anything with the dog, you let them act a certain way, your dog is not going to be a well-rounded dog. Your dachshund is not going to be well-rounded. You have to work with your dog. Dachshunds can go back into their old ways. They are very, very stubborn. They are very set in their ways sometimes. You have to work with them. That is my biggest thing. We will continue this video though. The next video will be training fundamentals for dachshunds because, dachshunds can be temperamental. They can be stubborn. They can be a pain in the neck. But there are there's some things that work for dachshunds really, really well, as well as boundaries and expectations for your dogs and how to be consistent with training and positive reinforcement, as well as repetition and how to train your dog in general. Now, we will talk about that more in the next video, but you have to really care to work with your dog. Well, and that goes for any dog, but this is particularly for dachshunds because dachshunds are stubborn. And I'm particularly addressing this towards dachshunds. But if you don't work with your dog, you are going to end up with a very unhealthy relationship with your dog, whether it's people aggression, food aggression, dog aggression. You got to work with your dog. It doesn't matter how old the dog is. You keep working with your dog. That is the problem with Duke. Nobody ever worked with Duke, so he can be very, very temperamental most of the time. He is very, very friendly, but he can be very temperamental, and he is afraid of my husband. But again, he was treated very, very badly. So we still work with him, but he loves being around a lot of the other dogs, especially the older ones like Mia and Athena Marie and Freya. He loves Freya, but he especially loves Dreamfire or Dream, the new silver and tan dapple we got. but or black and tan dapple. Silver dapple is a different country, but she's a black and tan dapple. But anyways, I'm gonna go ahead and end this video. So thank you guys so much for watching. Stay tuned for part 2 for more information on dachshunds. So thank you guys so much for watching, and as usual, you guys, I'll see you guys next time in the next video. See you guys later.